Control the kitchen chaos and streamline your back-of-house operations with Restaurant Technologies. Restaurant Technologies' total oil management solution is the end-to-end automated oil management system that delivers, filters, monitors, and recycles your cooking oil, taking the dirtiest job out of the kitchen and lets your employees focus on more important tasks. The total oil management solution helps prevent the burns, spills, slips, and falls that come from traditional oil management. Restaurant Technologies gives you and your employees peace of mind among the chaos of a commercial kitchen and can maximize efficiency for your business. And no upfront cost. Learn more about Restaurant Technologies and the solutions they offer by visiting rti-inc.com or call 888-796-4997.
Hi, and welcome to Menu Talk with Pat and Bret. I'm your co-host, Bret Thorn, Senior Food and Beverage Editor of Nation's Restaurant News and Restaurant Hospitality.
And I'm Pat Cobe, Senior Menu Editor at Restaurant Business. Excuse me.
How you doing, Pat? Got a little frog in your throat, but that's...
Yeah, I'm doing well. I haven't talked to anyone yet today, so that's the problem.
That could be, and it was a slow week last week, of course, because 4th of July. Not a lot going on. I don't know, but what have you been up to?
Well, I did have a chance over the weekend to try Fieldtrip for the first time, which is J.J. Johnson's fast casual. Have you ever been there?
I have not. He does sort of Afro-Caribbean stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean it's sort of a rice bowl concept. I mean it's all about the art of cooking perfect rice, and he does some really interesting bowls. I actually had one that had herbed rice in it, and the rice was really delicious, and it was topped with jerk meatballs, which are made with this new product from Mush Foods that's half beef and half mushrooms.
That's
So
cool.
it's not entirely plant-based, and they were very juicy and light and really good flavor because they had jerk seasoning on them. I mean, or I guess they were in kind of a jerk sauce. And then it was topped with coconut yogurt, which was really an interesting, contrast,
So,
and stir-fried vegetables. So it was very healthy and a huge, huge portion. I really ate like a third of it, and that was enough for lunch.
so coconut yogurt, is that yogurt made from coconut milk or is it yogurt flavored with coconut?
No, it's made from coconut milk.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah. It had some like scallions in it, I believe, or it wasn't just a glob of yogurt. It had some flavors
What
mixed in.
I mean, a glob of yogurt is delicious.
Yeah,
Also, I like it in the morning with fruit, with berries. I think that's...
yeah, no, it was really quite good. And then he has like a couple of sides on there that are really interesting, like kind of like these crab-filled wontons that are almost like crab ragoon, but they don't have the cream cheese filling. They're really pure crab. And everything is priced so reasonably for the ingredients that he uses, because the rice bowls are about 12.95, 11.95, which is unusual for fast casual because all of them are going up in price these days.
Yeah, that's true. I had a doner kebab walking around my neighborhood at a
Oh,
place
fun.
called like Meat Wise Meat. One spelled MEET, one spelled MEAT. I don't know.
Got it.
It's a translation from an Eastern European phrase because I don't know that it translated well into English. But it was like $19 for with yummy lavash, beef and chicken all spiced and
Mm,
together and everything. It's good, but it was $19, which is it's a lot.
yeah, that is pricey.
Now for inexpensive, well, I don't know. I didn't pay, but I was reconnected with a colleague of mine from when I lived in Bangkok, my friend Balaji, who was our IT guy, and now he's a software engineer in Silicon Valley. And he is a devout high caste Hindu from South India. And so there's not a whole lot that is readily available for him to eat because he follows vegetarian dietary laws and but he said, let's go out for Indian food at this Hindu temple in Flushing, Queens.
Hmm.
Said, I'll drive you. I'll pick you up at home. I said, no, you won't, because I'm in the very deep south of Brooklyn. Brooklyn, and that's too far. So I met him in downtown Brooklyn, and we went there, and it was delicious. It was a lot of very highly spiced uh, vegetable stews, all mixed with rice. And Balaji insisted on also buying me a some lemon pickles and tamarind paste that I'm going to be playing with. I haven't any.
Oh, neat.
But you mentioned rice, and Balaji's wife Suma said that I should make my rice so that it's light and fluffy, and then the condiments that Balaji got for me will be especially delicious. I'm currently still on my buckwheat kick, but I think
Oh.
that these would go really well with buckwheat.
Do
Uh,
you have a rice cooker or do you cook rice the conventional way?
I cook it the conventional way. I mean, in culinary school, I learned to make rice pilaf, which that's one approach. I do sort of a combination of that and the East Asian way of washing the rice and then
Hmm.
adding a little bit less water than they do in France. In France, they double the volume and it's a little bit less in East Asia. Although how you measure it depends on who you talk to. One Japanese woman said, "What you do is you wash the rice, you put it at the bottom of the pan, and then you put your hand on top of the rice, and at the if it goes up to past your thumb and just at the indentation of your uh, hand after the thumb, that's the amount of the amount of water that you put in."
Well, everyone has a different size thumb though.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that works. Another Chinese Canadian guy actually just showed me with his fingers. You know, so it's covered with this much water.
Right.
I don't think that it needs to be an exact science. I think other people would argue with me. I think, but and with my buckwheat, it actually cooks faster than rice. It cooks in 15 minutes. So
Well, I used to cook it like, that. And actually, the Rice Council kind of taught me how to cook it, where you just cover it with water, you bring it to a boil, and then you turn off the heat and just cover the pan, and it cooks that way, perfectly. But
oh,
then I got a rice cooker, and it's not a huge rice cooker like they use in sushi restaurants, just like one for a household. And I love cooking rice in my rice cooker now.
because the rice cooker knows when it's done, right? It's like
Yeah,
the humidity level or whatever.
it's foolproof.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I just cook it in a pot. Traditionally, actually, I've done what the French also taught me to do, which was cook it in the oven, which can
Mm,
be a waste of oven energy, but that means if you don't want your rice to stick to the bottom, cook it in the oven, and it works very well. Great saver for your pan or for your time of having to scrape the stuck rice at the bottom of your pan.
yeah, definitely.
So in other news, we both report on new menu items at chain restaurants, obviously, and I was very excited last week about the return of Arby's potato cakes, which has been one of my favorite. Uh, well, I say it's one of my favorite side items, but I didn't realize they'd removed it, which they did 3 years ago. They
Right.
replaced them with crinkle cut fries, and I there aren't very many Arby's in New York City, so I don't have the opportunity to go. And I went to an Arby's when I was traveling, and I was pretty crestfallen that there weren't potato cakes, and they're not back permanently. They're back as a limited time,
Right.
and I'm not sure what their motivation is, but I'm
Oh, well, they had online petitions, people calling for them to bring it back.
yeah, and
So,
they're marketing, yeah, but there's a lot of that stuff. So
yeah,
it also has to fit operationally, and they have to understand what their audience wants. But they've hired Kyle MacLachlan to be their spokesman. He's doing a bunch
right.
of social media stuff. So I'll have to find my way to an Arby's while they're.
Well, I think there's one near Port Authority in Manhattan.
Yeah, there's one right on 8th Avenue near Port Authority. And then there's one other in Middle Village in Queens, which is
Okay.
if you take the M train to the very end of the line, that's there's an Arby's there, about a
You
block.
would have to really want potato cakes very badly to
Well,
do that.
I went there years ago when I was working on a story. I don't remember what the story was, but I wanted to get a picture of the molten chocolate cake that Arby's had just come out with. And so I took the subway all the way. I guess the one near Port Authority hadn't opened yet, but
Oh,
it was a while ago, and that was quite a trip. And then I took a picture so that our art department could use it, and they never used it. they used Arby's version.
Well, I'm surprised when I did a story on the potato cakes coming back too, and all the merch that they're bringing back with it. And it just seems to me that all these chains are doing so much more with merch these days and swag. It seems like everything has a tie-in to some merch. I know Chick-fil-A just released their new line of merchandise too.
Yes, and since this is not going to air before 9 a.m. tomorrow, I can say that Shake Shack is also bringing. They have a body pillow shaped like crinkle cut fries.
Right, the cuddle pillow.
Yes, exactly. So there's that.
Yeah, so much merch. And then I got a package from Crispy Crunchy Chicken with a lot of swag in it as well. So I guess it seems like it's something that they're doing a lot more of lately than they used to.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's free marketing. It's marketing that people pay for because they buy the swag and then they wear it because it's off
Right.
clothing, and then why not? It's
Yeah.
an extra source of revenue. I do still treasure the meat sweats that Arby's sent me many years ago. That are sweats with pictures of Arby's sandwiches on them, and
Yeah, I never got those, but I like the bourbon, the smoked bourbon that they sent. That was really
mm,
nice.
yeah, I didn't get that one,
Oh.
but that's all right. What else is going on in your life, Pat?
Well, I mean, I over the July 4th weekend, I went to some barbecues. I didn't really eat in a lot of restaurants because it's kind of not the best time to go out to a restaurant, in my opinion. But
Yeah, and it's a family time and barbecue,
yeah,
which I didn't do. Instead, as I said on July 4th, I went out for Indian food and have all these lemon pickles and tamarind paste to play around with.
but you didn't catch the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, even
No,
though you
no.
lived pretty close.
Yeah, I now live within challenging walking distance, not on July 4th because the weather was bad. Yeah, I didn't go. Well, once you're on the inside and you can be a judge, which I had been for the past 3 years, I don't want to stand with all those masses of
No, I don't blame you.
contests. I'm not
But
a
there
big,
is a new champion.
there is. Yes, I forgot his name, but
Yeah, Joey Chestnut was out, so there's a new champion.
yeah,
And
Joey
then
was
uh,
disqualified.
the female champion actually ate more than she ever had before. I think she topped 50 with 51. I just, saw the news flash. So
That's Mickey Sudo, right? I think that's her name.
yeah, I think that's her name.
Yeah, yeah. She's a perennial champion. She wins many years.
Yeah.
Um, I think it was she that a couple of years ago, after the women had competed, we were all relaxing in the VIP lounge, and she was eating Nathan's food. She was like having I don't think she ate any more hot dogs, but she was eating fries and stuff. Nathan's has
Wow.
French fries, very very potatoy tasting fries. But I was just kind of blown away that she shoved all of these hot dogs into her face and was
Yeah, it's
fine.
crazy. Not my kind of competition.
No, no. How do you feel about boba tea?
Um, you know what? I've tried it a number of times. I don't seek it out. If someone gives me a cup of it, I will drink it, but it isn't like my favorite thing. I, I don't like slurping up those little tapioca balls. I think they ruin the drink,
You want
personally.
you want a smoother beverage experience.
Yeah, yeah. If I'm drinking like something, that's icy and cold and refreshing, I just want it to be that, and I don't want to chew anything.
I understand and respect that. I kind of like the experience, but I have a policy, like not hard and fast, but if I'm going to drink calories, I want there to be alcohol in them
Mm.
or in it. So that's my approach. But I'm asking because for this episode of Menu Talk, I interviewed Tin Do, the co-founder and CEO of Krak Boba,
Oh,
um, which is they have 14 locations, another 14 in development. About half of them are company owned and or owned by one or two of the three co-founders, and the rest, the other uh, six, I think, are franchise. But when you hear Krak Boba, you think maybe they're talking about the drug, right?
Yeah, it's kind of an odd name for a beverage concept.
Well, it's actually not named after the drug. It's named after a legendary Polish king, Krakus, who, as I understand it, is the mythical founder of the city of Krakow. But he also slayed a dragon and saved his village. And some of the messaging and the imagery from Krak Boba is crowns. You can wear a crown if you want. You're in charge of your own destiny. Uh, there's a lot of talk about expressing your own personality. It's about, like,
Uh-huh, got it.
and I'm glad if you hadn't gotten it, that would be a problem because it was pretty straightforward. Good job. But it's founded actually on. They have three pillars, three philosophical pillars. One is courage, the other is another is service, and the third is joy. And I'm gonna play a clip of Tindo talking about courage.
So that first one is really big for me because we have to kind of embody that, right? And then we also invite our customers to kind of be the heroes of their own lives, to slay their own, what's holding them back, and so unleash their day with a cup of crack boba.
I mean, that's a high aspiration, I think, but why not? Why not?
Yeah.
And also, he talked about how he and his co-founders were all in other industries. Tyndall was in investment banking, and the other two were came from healthcare, and another one was in Silicon Valley finance. So to say, screw it, we're going to go found our own uh, boba tea concept is courageous. I give him
Yeah,
credit.
definitely.
And then obviously they're in the hospitality industry, so service is an important factor.
My ultimate, point, purpose of existence is to be kind to one another, and to be loving, and to be gentle, and to be supportive, and to help others. And so I believe that's what God wants done. Why we were created. So that's why that's the second pillar for me, to serve one another.
So that's going beyond your regular hospitality thing.
Hmm.
We have
Is it like a fast casual kind of place where you go up to the counter and order and then take it away?
yeah, yeah, but they try to be nice about it. And
Yeah, yeah.
in those sort of pre-sealed, or I guess post-sealed, but those
Hmm.
sealed lids on top that you have to like poke through with your straw. That's the custom with boba tea concept. And of course, this place has coffees and teas and various other drinks. And so the other pillar is joy. I don't think. Well, I don't have a clip for about joy because I didn't think it was necessary. Because you drink something and it's fun to drink. It gives you joy if you like chewing on little tapioca pearls, which you don't.
Well, there are some flavors that I've liked. I like the brown sugar one that I've tried. And, then it's not that objectionable when it feels like more than just a refreshing drink to have. Like that one has a little more body. So having the little pearls come up doesn't bother me as much.
I see. Then it's more of an indulgent dessert kind of
Yeah,
situation.
yeah, definitely.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, they have a lot of specialty drinks, and I'm gonna share their King Brulee description in a second. First, I want to have Tindo talk a little bit more about celebrating the uniqueness of the individual.
I think that's just such a beautiful blend of our existence, right? As a brand, in that the product itself originated from one part of the world, the inspiration comes from another part of the world, and then we exist now in yet another part of the world.
He has a nice laugh.
Yeah, it does.
But yeah. I mean, he's inspired by a legendary Polish king. Bubble tea originated in Taiwan, and here they're mostly in California, but they have one franchise location in Orlando, Florida. And I listed all the things that are on the menu, but it's relatively uh, straightforward, which I'll have Tindo talk about in a second. But first, I want to play a clip of him sharing that his franchisees come from all walks of life, and that's
Mm.
another thing that he's very proud of. This is about the franchisee in Chico, which is in California's Central Valley.
The franchisee there is a couple. The husband is a professor at Chico University who teaches computer and gaming animation for that like nourishes students that later eventually would work for Pixar. So and that's so cool that like he wants to like move on to something else, and he decided to partner with his wife, who's also an entrepreneur, to do yet another entrepreneur thing, and that is Krak Boba. So we're very excited to launch there.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I I wonder if these franchisees understand how hard it is to run a restaurant. I mean, even a boba shop, like you gotta have staff, and you have to. Well, you've been reporting on the
Hmm.
restaurant industry forever, and I mean, they're growing and they're moving along. They're
Yeah, I just hope there aren't too many boba concepts, and we get overrun with them like we did with frozen yogurt, and not all of them succeeded, several years later. So,
right. Yeah, there there probably will be a shakeout. Although, I mean, boba tea, I kind of feels huge, but I don't think it's that widespread really yet.
no, I guess beverage concepts in general, there are just so many beverage concepts.
Yes, a lot of
We talk about this every week, but I mean, boba tea fits into that category too, and all these coffee concepts and lemonade concepts.
right.
So I think it's just, I predict there will be some sort of shakeup.
I think you're probably right. And I'm gonna have Tindo sort of talk us through the menu a little bit.
Yeah, so we only have 42 items on our menu. We started at 36, so we're about like a half to a third of the number of products that's on a typical boba shop. And our intention is to not have analysis paralysis, right? Like you're standing at a supermarket cereal aisle, right? You're like looking 100 degrees to the left, 180 degrees to the right, and just like, what do I choose, right? So yeah, it's and the so it simplifies it to a smaller subset, but yet the in the development process, we leverage collective intelligence. We ask, the staff to help us rate the drinks, and it has to rate an A minus, 9 out of 10, in order to make it on the menu. So with those two intentions, we hope that if you pick any item on the menu, is at least drinkable or phenomenal. So within that range.
That's very smart. Yeah, because some of them have just so many, selections that you can't decide.
Yeah, I've always had this issue when restaurants want to offer you everything. Like there are some Mexican restaurants that celebrate the fact that they have 150 different types of tequila, and I want why don't you just pick one tequila for me, or five, eight,
Hmm.
different styles, different price points. I think eight's enough.
Yeah, no, totally.
It's
And they're not that, I mean, when you have like 30 different boba tea selections, or 40, what he used to have, I mean, they couldn't be that different from each other. It's
right.
probably just a shade different.
When they do have, I mean, most boba places have seasonal specialties. Like
Hmm.
a number of them have, as you probably know, have peach items available now, which I like peach. I'm on board with that.
Hmm.
And uh, Krak Boba has a specialty item that I mentioned called the King Brulee that I think you would enjoy.
One of the best-selling drinks is the King Brulee. It has 3 different kinds of brown sugar in there, and then so one to cook the boba in, and then one on the side of the cup, and one we use at the top to burn, which is kind of like a creme brulee. And then there's also creme brulee chunks in the cup, as well as brown sugar boba. So it's very rich.
It's very rich.
It sounds delicious. Yeah, that sounds. I mean, that sounds more like a dessert, but it's a nice. It's. I guess it's an alternative to like getting a milkshake.
And to satisfy my rules, you could add a shot of rum.
Right. No, that sounds really good. As I mentioned, I do like the brown sugar boba and the brown sugar flavored drinks. I just think they're not too sweet, but they have a really good depth of flavor.
Yeah, I agree. I would like to try that King Brulee if I'm ever in Southern California, which I will be at some point, or Orlando. Okay, I have just one last clip about uh, Tindo's generally, encouraging everybody to be themselves and to have their own, as I said, personality. That includes his employees.
What's really cool is that when we make a drink that is like that colorful and that unique in the way that it's decorated, it's made fresh to order, it's handed to the customer and say enjoy, right? Um, they take a picture of it and they share it on their stories, and they share it with their communities. Each community that we enter, we it's very fortunate that we're well received. Um, each location that we launch, we serve about 1,000 to 2,000 people for our grand opening event. So it's very well received, and on top of that, we uh, part of uh, sort of a startup business, right? We're still technically a startup. We're only a toddler of a brand. Earlier on, we had a good infusion where we're able to enable our staff member, who we also celebrate their uniqueness, their individuality, right, their self-expression. So we had a program where they take over our brand's TikTok account, and share the hashtag Krak Boba on TikTok. And quickly we went viral. We were at one point we were nearly 40 million views on TikTok. So those are some of the ways that we express ourselves on social media.
It is a young brand. It was founded in July of 2020. Not the best timing. They meant to found it in 2019, but things got slowed up, and
Yeah,
it is. And then there was a pandemic. But as I said, the stuff is in these sealed containers anyway, so
right.
probably
Yeah.
there's a sense of safety in that probably.
And you don't sit there and drink it. You take it to go usually.
Right.
I mean, the boba places I've been anyway. Maybe some of them are sit down, but
The ones I've seen are, I mean, there's like a stool you can sit on or something, but usually people
right.
just take it and go.
Speaking of which, I went to Chick-fil-A's first digital restaurant, which is right in my neighborhood. There is no seating at all. You have to order ahead, and they have it was actually really well planned because they have one side for the delivery drivers and they direct all the customers to the other side so nobody's like jostling at the counter for their orders, and it when the order is ready it lights up on the board and you just go up and pick it up.
Oh,
It-
so
Really cool.
you had a good
Have to
experience?
try. I didn't try ordering anything, but I did talk to the franchisee and he showed me around, so it was pretty cool.
That's cool. Well, and it's near you, so if you ever, feel
Yeah,
like a fried chicken sandwich, there's one.
right. I want to try that maple bacon one. I haven't tried that yet.
Yeah, that sounds good. So you got big plans for this week?
Let me think. um, I am going to Blank Street on Thursday. They have a new, I don't know if you got invited to that, but
Yeah, I
I,
got invited and I forgot what it is. Blaine Street is a local coffee chain.
right.
Is convenient. They have a great coffee subscription program where you just pay a flat rate and you get your coffee.
Hmm.
And it's a little bit less expensive than the other coffee houses.
Yeah. And it has a kind of nice vibe. You never have to wait too long. It's anyway, they're all over the city, but they're having an event where they're going to like tie into pickleball somehow. So that should be interesting. We could talk about that next week.
Yes, well, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna be in Philadelphia tomorrow, and I'm gonna
Oh,
check out
cool.
some restaurants and well, it'll be an adventure. And whatever
Yeah.
happens, I'll report back.
Oh, yeah, that sounds cool. Do you just go for the day or are you going to stay over?
I'm staying over just because I have dinner reservations at Zahav, so that will be a
Oh,
place I've
nice.
never been. So that'll be good. And
Yeah.
I'll be in our office tomorrow. If you feel like swinging by the office, I'll be there. Not
Okay.
tomorrow, obviously. Tomorrow I'll be in Philly. The day after, I'll be in the New York City Midtown Mall.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll come by. I'll have to look at my schedule and see.
Yeah, no pressure. It's all right.
Yeah. No, I would like to see it, and maybe we can record in our new podcast
Yeah,
studio.
we do have a new podcast studio, and that's true. You haven't seen the renovated offices, which are now a couple weeks old. They're nice.
Yeah. No, I'll take a look and see if I can make it. If not, perhaps the following week.
Yes. And to members of our audience, I don't think I can extend an open invitation to any of you, all of you, to visit the office. But if you want to, I mean, that my email address is at the bottom of every story I write. Reach out. Maybe I can arrange a tour.
Yeah.
And I think that about wraps it up for this week. You got anything else you need to share, Pat?
No, I think that wraps it up for sure.
Great. Well, thanks for spending the time with me, Pat, and thank you, audience. And talk to you next week.
Control the kitchen chaos and streamline your back of house operations with Restaurant Technologies. Restaurant Technologies' total oil management solution is the end-to-end automated oil management system that delivers, filters, monitors, and recycles your cooking oil, taking the dirtiest job out of the kitchen and lets your employees focus on more important tasks. The total oil management solution helps prevent the burns, spills, slips, and falls that come from traditional oil management. Restaurant Technologies gives you and your employees peace of mind among the chaos of a commercial kitchen and can maximize efficiency for your business. And no upfront cost. Learn more about Restaurant Technologies and the solutions they offer by visiting rti-inc.com or call 888-796-4997.